So today, we are diving into a powerful emotion that many of us grapple with, anger. Specifically, we're going to talk about the kind of anger that feels like a sudden explosion, a rush of heat, or an irresistible urge to fight back. We're talking about the fiery influence of Mars. This is the first video in our series. Do you ever find yourself going from 0 to 100 in seconds? Do you have a quick temper that flares up, leaving a trail of regret? Perhaps you're incredibly impulsive, acting on instinct before you can even think. Or maybe you know someone who's fiercely competitive, always ready for a challenge, sometimes to the point of aggression. Perhaps a person who struggles with impatience, with frustration, or a need to always be in control. If any of this resonates with you or someone you know, then your Vedic birth chart might be pointing to a strong and perhaps afflicted Mars. So in Vedic astrology, Mars or Mangal is the commander-in-chief of the celestial army. It represents our energy, our courage, our drive, our ambition, and our ability to take action. It's the planet of the warrior, the athlete, the pioneer. When Mars is well placed and strong, it grants immense willpower, leadership qualities, and the courage to fight for justice. However, when Mars is afflicted, meaning it's in a difficult sign, or in a difficult house, or in conjunction with challenging planets, or functionally malefic planets, its energy can become destructive. This leads to impulsiveness, aggression, impatience, rash decisions, arguments, and quick explosive temper. So this is the difference between a controlled fire warming a home and a raging inferno, destroying everything in its path. An afflicted Mars can make one combative, prone to accidents, or even violent. Let's look at where Mars might be stirring up trouble in your chart. So let's talk about Mars in the first house, which is your ascendant, your first house. I'm not saying Mars being the ascendant, just Mars sitting in the first house. This is perhaps the most direct indicator. The first house governs your personality, your temperament, and your physical body. When Mars sits here, it imbues the native with a fiery, direct, and often impatient personality. You might be naturally assertive, competitive, and quick to anger even. This placement gives a strong physical presence, but it can also make one confrontational, prone to headaches, or even accidents involving the head. The aggression becomes part of the core identity if it's not well placed. Now let's talk about Mars in the sixth house. Sixth house rules enemies, disputes, and competition. Mars here can make you a formidable opponent. Yeah, excellent in sports or debates, but also prone to conflicts and arguments. The anger here is often directed at perceived rivals or those who challenge you, and can lead to even legal battles or an overly combative nature in daily life. Let's talk about Mars in 8th house. This house signifies hidden matters, sudden events, and transformation. Mars here can indicate a tendency to repress anger, which then explodes unexpectedly. It can also point to issues with control, manipulation, or intense sudden bursts of rage that are hard to understand, even for the person experiencing them. Let's talk about Mars in the 12th house. 12th house is the house of subconscious patterns, loss, isolation. Mars here can lead to internalized anger, resentment, or passive-aggressive behavior. The anger might be directed inward, causing frustration, or it could manifest as an unconscious tendency to sabotage oneself or others. It can also indicate issues with sleep or hidden enemies. Now, consider key combinations that intensify Mars' fiery nature. Let's consider them, such as Mars-Rahu conjunction. This is one of the most volatile combinations, Angarak Yoga. Rahu, the amplifier, magnifies Mars' energy, leading to explosive, irrational, and often destructive anger. The individual might act recklessly, impulsively, and without regard to consequences, often with bursts of rage that are difficult to control. That's Mars Rahu. Let's talk about Mars-Saturn conjunction or even opposition. Saturn is about restriction and delay. When it interacts with Mars, it can lead to immense frustration and suppressed anger that builds up over time. Eventually, it explodes, though. It can also manifest as stubborn aggression or a deep-seated resentment that is hard to let go of. Let's talk about other affliction being Mars debilitated or Mars in the sign of Cancer. When Mars is weak, its energy can become distorted. In the sign of Cancer, which is a watery sign, it's a sign of debilitation, Mars struggles to express its energy effectively, leading to passive-aggressive behavior, emotional outbursts disguised as anger, or a deep sense of frustration because actions don't yield desired results. Now let's talk about when and how it manifests. We're going to talk about dashas. This type of Martian anger often flares up a lot more during specific periods in your life. The most potent time is during your Mars Mahadasha or Mars Antardasha. If Mars is afflicted in your chart, these periods can bring heightened conflict, accidents, arguments, legal issues, and a significantly shorter fuse. You might feel more impatient, aggressive, or prone to sudden outbursts. It's a time when your inner warrior is intensely active and without conscious direction. Without that direction, that energy can turn chaotic. Similarly, challenging transits of Mars over sensitive points in your chart or its interaction with planets already causing affliction can also trigger these angry outbursts. For example, when transiting Mars aspects over your natal moon, which is your emotional planet, or your ascendant, which is you might find yourself feeling unusually irritable or reactive. Now, let's talk about the good news. The good news is that Vedic astrology not only identifies these challenges, but also provides good, powerful remedies. The goal isn't to suppress Mars, but to channel its immense energy constructively and transform its destructive potential into productive power. Let me give you some solutions. Mars is all about action. Engage in vigorous physical daily activity. This could be high-intensity workouts, running, martial arts, competitive sports, or even intense manual labor. This allows the excess Martian energy to be expended constructively, preventing it from building up and exploding as anger. You can also look at doing breathing. Practice cooling breathing exercises like a cooling breath or satkari, hissing breath, to literally cool down your internal fire. Deep breathing helps to calm the nervous system and prevent impulsive reactions. There's mantra therapy for whoever it resonates with. You can chant the Mars mantra, Om Angakarya Namaha. You can recite Hanuman Chalisa. That's been known to also calm Mars's energy. It's the highest expression of Mars. You can chant it with devotion, it will instill discipline inside of you, strength, control. Another thing is you can cultivate the habit of pausing before reacting. When you feel your anger rising, take the 3 deep breaths. Ask yourself, is this reaction truly serving me? This creates a crucial gap between stimulus and response. You can also engage in service that involves protection or defense of the vulnerable, like volunteering for emergency services or animal shelters. This also channels Mars's protective energy positively. See, Mars thrives on discipline. Create a structured routine for yourself. This gives Mars's energy a positive outlet, helping you build and achieve rather than destroy. You should also do some dietary adjustments, such as reducing consumption of overly spicy, hot, or oily foods. It can increase the pitta, which is the fire element in the body. That could exacerbate your Martian anger. You can incorporate more cooling foods because Mars causes pitta. So let's talk about what does all this mean. See, ultimately, anger, especially that fueled by an intense Mars, is not a punishment, but it is a powerful karmic lesson. Your soul, through this particular blueprint, is learning how to master its own raw power. It's an assignment to transform impulsiveness into decisive action, and aggression into courage, and destructive anger into a force for positive change. This fiery energy, once understood and controlled, it becomes an incredible asset for leadership, for innovation, for courage. Your soul is guiding you to transcend lower expressions of this energy and ascend to a higher form of self-mastery. It's a soul contract to learn patience, diplomacy, and the constructive application of your immense inner strength. So, here are your assignments to begin shifting your Martian energy right now. First, I want to know, tell me in the comments, what is one specific constructive task that you will complete today to challenge your Martian energy? And what is the firm, clear boundary statement that you will use to protect the time you need for focused action? Second, let's turn this knowledge into action. Do one good deed of the day for someone less fortunate today. Channel that difficult fiery energy into selfless seva, service, to purify your Mars. And share this video with as many people as you can who are struggling with difficult aggression or impulsive anger. This message is critical for soul evolution. The more you share, the more you make your own chart better. Knowledge is meant to be shared, and that's what I'm doing for you. If you'd like to connect with me to deep dive into your own chart, feel free to connect with me via the link in the About section. And join us next time for video 2 in this series, where we will dive into the emotional turmoil caused by an afflicted moon. We'll discuss the anger that comes from instability, emotional insecurity, and the reactive mind. It's a very different kind of challenge than the fiery Mars. So don't miss it. And as always, if you enjoyed this video, hit subscribe, hit the like button, hit the bell icon so you don't miss out on any of my future videos. So, see you next time.